Consequentialist and non-consequentialist theories. A consequentialist theory determines whether an action is right or wrong by evaluating its consequences. Utilitarianism is a consequentialist theory. A non-consequentialist theory determines whether an action is right or wrong by considering the underlying rule or principle motivating the action. Kantianism and social contract theory are non-consequentialist theories. Three situations in which my action would be primarily motivated by a sense of duty or obligation. I promised someone if he could get 2 tickets to a rock concert, I would purchase a ticket and go with him. He got the tickets and expects me to pay for mine. I keep my promise, even though I just lost my job and really can't afford to go. I pay my income taxes, even though I think the government has some wasteful programs. Everybody in my fraternity is going to give blood. I donate blood too, even though just thinking about it makes me queasy. Three situations in which my action is primarily motivated by its expected consequences. I give money to a particular charity because it has the lowest administrative overhead of any international relief organization. I figure more of my money will actually reach those who need it. I work extra hard in a particular class, even though I'm not interested in the material, because I hope the professor will write me a good letter of recommendation. I slightly exaggerate my experience in order to get a good job as a server in a nice restaurant, figuring that the probability of someone discovering my exaggeration is very low. Moral luck is a problem associated with act utilitarianism. According to act utilitarianism, the moral worth of an action depends solely on its consequences. If the consequences are out of the control of the moral agent, an action that should have had a good effect may end up having a harmful effect. In this case, the action is deemed to be wrong, even though it was no fault of the person performing the action. Businesses and governments often use utilitarian thinking to determine the proper course of action because it allows all consequences of a decision to be boiled down to dollars and cents, or some other quantifiable unit of measure. In this way, a cost-benefit analysis can identify the alternative with the best outcome. The difference principle states that social and economic inequalities must be justified, and the only way to justify a social or economic inequality is to show that its overall effect is to provide the most benefit to the least advantaged. For example, under capitalism, some people are allowed to have much more wealth than others. In order to justify capitalism, it must be shown that the poorest are better off than under alternative economic systems. Virtue ethics is based on the idea that a person of good character will, under normal circumstances, do what is right when faced with a moral decision. Here are some moral virtues not mentioned in section 2.10. Altruism, ambition, charity, compassion, conscientiousness, continence, courteousness, courtesy, discretion, empathy, generosity, hospitality, humility, industry, integrity, kindness, patience, perseverance, persistence, prudence, sincerity, temperance, tranquility, and trustworthiness.